This past week, we got an official reveal of Black Ops 7. With it, we pretty much know what Warzone's going to look like. So while normally we make more lighthearted challenge videos on this channel, today, we're gonna get serious. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons of Black Ops 7 and Warzone, the future of Rebirth Island, even the future of the channel, and what I think Call of Duty needs to do to make the next game a successful release. So ladies, gentlemen, bots and sweats, get your notebooks out, because class is in session. So in order for us to break all this down, we're going to start with 3 sections. I'm going to talk about what is coming in Black Ops 7, all the content for both multiplayer and Warzone, and my thoughts on it. And we'll do that by talking about pros and cons for each. Then we'll talk about some ideas I have for Warzone, things that aren't mentioned at all on places like Twitter or in some of the patch notes or blogs that Call of Duty's released. Basically separate ideas that I hope people at Call of Duty and developers will be able to take from and potentially use. And lastly, we'll talk about my plans for the future, and it's nothing crazy, so I don't want to worry you guys if you're clicking into this, but we will cover that at the end so we can cover the most important stuff here first. And so lastly, before we jump into it, I just want to talk about the purpose of this. The intention behind this video is simply to hope that people from Call of Duty will see it, put out ideas into the community so that the game can be as successful as possible. I want people to realize that I'm not afraid to throw criticisms out there and analysis, but I also want to assure people and remind people I'm not going to be a channel that does this. I prefer to make content and kind of have fun playing the game, and that is just the content that I enjoy. We're not going to be uploading a ton of these on the channel, but I do think sometimes it is necessary. We're going to start off with pros here, and so the first one that I have is that Sledgehammer is going to be working with Treyarch on BO7 and therefore the Warzone integration. So what sorts of content are we getting, and why am I actually excited for this? For multiplayer, we're getting 16 6v6 maps, 2 20v20, 30 weapons, overclocks, hybrid perk specialties, new perks, score streaks, and more. With this, I think a lot of this is going to be coming to Warzone, but we don't actually know that, and we'll find out at COD Next. Just to put it out there for people that are wondering, unfortunately I will not be at COD Next, but I will be reacting and making content to all of it from the confines of this chair. So we have to see what this stuff is, but essentially overclocks is the ability to take tacticals and lethals and essentially make it more powerful, kind of like a prestige is my understanding, but it's a way to kind of customize your playstyle. Same thing with hybrid perk specialties, more perks. I think there's a lot of stuff that could really change the dynamic of Warzone here in a positive direction, but I'll also talk about why I'm concerned about this later in the video. When it comes to maps in general, the fact that we're getting some remastered maps such as Raid from Black Ops 2, I played that map on Cold War for the first time because I'm still somewhat new to the Call of Duty franchise, and I think that map is one of the most phenomenal ones I've played, especially for Search and Destroy. I'm excited to get some of these maps remastered, and they look very beautiful with the graphics. That should be a very positive thing overall, and I think the content we're going to get is very important, because the reality is whether Call of Duty is successful, and a lot of people don't like to talk about this, doesn't have to do really with glitches, the anti-cheat, as much as it does content. Yes, COD has had some problems. Skill-based matchmaking, the anti-cheat, glitches and integrations, those things are definitely negatives for the game. But I think even more than that, if you have all that stuff going on, but you don't have any content to play, even camos to unlock, it is extremely negative. We have been promised that we're going to be getting 16 master camos, as you guys see here with progression, but we're also getting weapon prestige. Now, this could also be a con because there's also going to be attachments that you level up by getting prestige. I'm nervous about this, but I think for people that really want to grind Black Ops 7, get ready for Warzone, there's more to look forward to than I think there's ever been than when I can remember being a Call of Duty content creator. I'm excited for that. And I think as we go through this, if you were looking at Black Ops 7 as like just a net negative or a net positive overall, once again, I don't understand why people can't look at the things they're excited for, say, hey, this could be good. Here's the things that I'm not excited about. I'm nervous. For some reason, people need to go and just say, no, the whole game's gonna suck, or this is gonna suck. And that's the problem, is if we don't really make our voices heard with Call of Duty and tell them exactly what we do and don't like, then we're not exactly being clear, because a lot of people just complain about everything. Let's be real. And if we go to Call of Duty's recent tweet, they actually did take some feedback on not carrying Black Ops 6 operators into Black Ops 7, but they'll still be in Warzone. This is actually exactly what I personally believe is right. separate the multiplayer games. It annoyed me a lot. I think this is a big pro now. When people were using MW2 or Warzone 2 guns in MW3, like, what are we doing, guys? There's a bunch of new guns to use and we're using old ones. I think this will be a huge positive. Now, where it's a con is that I'm assuming the camos we got in Black Ops 6 cannot be applied to the Black Ops 7 weapons now. I think all camos should be able to be applied across every single Warzone gun. Reality is you can camo glitch it, so it must be possible, but they just don't want us to do that. I think for Warzone, all camo should go on any single weapon. However, I think being separate from multiplayer is a good thing for its identity. Zombies is getting a lot of content. I'm gonna dip my toes in a zombie. I'm a zombies noob. If you wanna watch some zombies, you wanna watch somebody that's horrible so you can feel better about yourself, subscribe. We'll be doing that in the fall. It's not gonna be very pretty, much like my hairline, but that's besides the point. Then for campaign, I'm actually very excited about this. There's going to be campaign camos. There's going to be a new endgame mode that is similar to DMZ. Honestly, can't wait for that. I'm very, very excited to jump into campaign this year, as well as Black Ops 7. The content just has me excited at the possibilities. Because as a COD creator right now, don't get me wrong, I have 150 video ideas written down of stuff to do. That's what you have to do as a COD creator. There is no content that you can just take and really use. And think about it for the players. There's like not enough content to really keep people occupied and engaged and having fun. So hopefully this will just be an overall positive. We're also getting new Omni movement with a wall jump, no default tack sprint, refined core movement, and new perk options. Now you can still do tack sprint with a perk that you can put on, which I think is good that it's not completely removed from the game. I personally think tack sprint in multiplayer is kind of dumb. Playing Cold War, it was kind of nice without it. However, I think in Warzone, Warzone should stay the same. And we'll get into that later in the video. I want to keep myself on task here. The second pro is that they're going to be slowing down movement to some extent. Now I know what people are thinking here. C-Preds, you forgot to take your medicine today. They're not slowing down movement, but hang on. We got to pull up this tweet here. This is not the tweet we want to pull up. This is the tweet we want to pull up. Now, I know what you're thinking, C-Preds. This is a guy wall jumping. That's not slower movement. Well, from the limited gameplay footage we've gotten and the notes, they are slowing down base movement as a whole with Omni movement and then adding wall jumping. In order to wall jump in ADS, like you saw in this clip here, that we'll just kind of keep playing in the background so you guys can kind of see it if you haven't seen it. I'm sure people have. You have to put on dexterity. So it locks it behind that perk, meaning that specialist and having that perk is super important and it limits your gameplay in other senses. You might not be able to loop streaks. You basically can't be a one-man soldier as much as you could. Now, COD, the thing that we like is that you kind of can be the jack of all trades. But I actually think people are really done with movement as a whole. And obviously, I've made whole series that really have kind of gone viral and I didn't expect them to on YY TikToker. I started that a few months ago and then now everybody's kind of doing that series as well. And I think the reason that that series on YY TikTokers did so well is people hate quote unquote movement demons. And I think toning them back a little bit, especially as Battlefield, we've seen people just want to be able to chill after work. They want to be able to hop into COD. COD is still going to be fast paced, right? And I think it should be. I don't think Warzone 2 was the right response. Completely removing all movement is not the solution, but toning it back, I think is, because I think a lot of people felt as if Omni movement was a little bit too cracked out, myself included. If you guys watch streams, sometimes you'll even with the Warzone movement being different, and we'll talk about that later about how Warzone needs to be different, right? Right now, it can be overwhelming even for me who plays 4 to 5 hours every day some days, running into movement demons. I can't imagine a casual player. If you're going to add wall jumping, the movement needed to be toned down. That is a good thing. Let's go to Pro 3 here. We're getting a return of classic BO2 maps, such as Raid. But in addition to that, there is rumors of new Warzone maps coming. So we'll talk a little bit about what we actually know here. We have a tweet from Lucci here that says, I don't really care for Black Ops 7, but as a Warzone main, I'm very excited Avalon is finally going to be our Warzone map. I have not seen any confirmation or anything outside of just leaks on Twitter, which sometimes they're accurate. We don't know until COD next. I think it is time for Warzone to get a new Battle Royale map and a new Resurgence map. I think it's time. I'm hoping that both of them are received well and they can rival Rebirth and Verdansk. And I think what makes those maps so good as Rebirth and Verdansk is that Rebirth is built on zombies and the campaign, and like it's been in Warzone and Call of Duty for so long that it's familiar, it's easy to navigate, and that's why people like it. If you think about Rebirth, it is very symmetrical. You have prison in the middle. It's predictable. There's 17 ways to get to the top of prison, seemingly, whether it be zip line, stairs, gondola. Prison has a lot of flanks, but it also has power, right? It has a place you can control for power, but it also has lanes. If I go top prison, I'm not going to get sniped all the way across the map like on Area 99. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I was camping that water tower. I was abusing the heck out of that. That is why Area 99 I don't think was received so well, is because you could snipe people across the map and it felt like you could never get away. Where prison, if you want to be a sweat, you land bottom prison, you land showers, or control center. And if I'm fighting on the roof of control center, sure, I can get sniped from lighthouse and prison, but there's angles where I can avoid those snipes. The reality is you can get shot 5-6 different ways on Rebirth, but it's predictable. Everybody knows, check the lighthouse tower, check the stairs, check the zip line, check control center roof, check factory. It's very predictable in where you rotate to and where you fight next. Places like Vondel, it's also predictable. Why? Because you have these roads in the middle. If you're fighting in mall, if you're fighting in market, you're fighting people on the roof, but where do you look next? The road. But because there's natural gaps in the map, I think it breaks up gunfights. And that is what makes these maps successful. I'm hoping that these other two maps, if they come into the game, which we'll find out, do the same thing. We don't know a lot so far. So that's why I'm not really going to talk about stuff that we don't know about, because we have to see how it plays, how it feels, in order to actually give it feedback. And I think that's one thing as a Call of Duty content creator and player that I wish people would do more, is just give their honest criticism and feedback after they've received all the information. Right now, we have all this info and leaks, and we don't really know exactly what things are going to look and feel like in terms of how will Black Ops 7 play, what's actually getting carried over to Warzone. And that kind of goes into later. I'm going to talk about what I do think the Warzone integration needs to look like. But first, let's just stick to the pros. The fourth one, I'm going to spend very little time on this. Call of Duty did listen to the community here when it came to operator skins and carry forward. Now, some people are still complaining because they're like, we were promised carry forward, I got scammed, the skins should carry over. My honest thoughts on this is, fortunately, I have had the ability in the past to talk to Call of Duty staff and developers. I do not envy these people's jobs. I mean, just think about it, man. People complain, millions of views, thousands of replies. This game sucks. Why is Beavis and Butthead in Black Ops 6? They take it out, and what do half the people do? Complain they're getting scammed. Guys, it's still in Warzone. I think the fact that Call of Duty listened to the community is amazing. I'll also say this, it's really tough for Call of Duty to know who to listen to, because I'm going to be honest, some streamers COD should absolutely not listen to. They just shouldn't. No offense to my quote-unquote colleagues, and myself included, right? My opinion should not be so much greater than the player base that COD listens to me and then ruins the game. Right? That's a tough thing with this, but it is a W that they listened, and I think a majority of people were happy about this, but I don't know, maybe this is more of a con on the Call of Duty community. And I think the COD community has a lot of great people in it, but just like any community, right? Just like, I'm a Yankees fan. There's some Yankee fans that are, let's just call it what it is, they're scumbags, right? They rip apart players, they go into their DMs and tell them inappropriate things. The Yankees have so many bandwagon fans that the community is so large, right? As a result, Call of Duty is similar. It has such a big fan base and people who don't even play the game, but just love hating on it. And it's hard to know what the community actually wants, but at least Call of Duty's trying to listen. It is because of Battlefield, right? To some extent, that competition really is forcing Call of Duty to do that. That could be a separate pro here, right? And we'll talk about Battlefield. Don't worry. We'll talk about Battlefield. I'm not ignoring the elephant in the room on purpose. That definitely is a big reason why Call of Duty made this change. But we do have to talk about some cons. Even though we sprinkled it in here, I do have at least 4 cons here. So for the cons, this is stuff we have to talk about, guys. When I say these cons, I just want to preface, this does not mean I'm quitting Warzone. This does not mean I hate the game. The reason I work so hard to make this a career is I love this ability to do what I do, right? Every day I wake up is a blessing to be able to do this, and it's what I worked very, very hard for. I am never going to make content where it becomes like a Call of Duty commentary channel and every day I'm talking about what needs to change. Not at all. I just think with the platform you guys have given me, that I need to do this, right? This needs to be done. Let's talk about the first one. Loss of old content. Now you might be thinking, what do you mean by this? Well, we have a lot of content in the, whatever, 7 years of Warzone or whatever it's been, like 7 different CODs that have played into this, right? MW19, Cold War, Vanguard, MW2, MW3, Black Ops 6, Black Ops 7. That's a lot of Call of Duty. We have lost so much content for Warzone in there. Even on Rebirth now, guys, if you played Rebirth back in the day, say if you look at some of my older videos from season 1 of 2 of just Black Ops 6, which isn't that long ago, there was loot on the ground. You look a little before that, we had backpacks. Then we had balloons. We had redeploy flares, deployable buy stations. Now we have all these new items in the game, like door barricades, which I've used for very funny moments, and specialist perks are now back, but they were gone, right? Warzone has this problem with content constantly disappearing. And that is a problem, because if content is removed with no explanation, and then we get new content, but it's not as good, and people want that old content back, and I'm talking about maps too, Vonda, Lashika. No matter what content you give people, they're gonna feel bad. Now, some of the content we've gotten since Verdansk has come back in season 3, which I'm gonna just say this, when Verdansk came back, that was a downgrade for Resurgence specifically. I actually like the movement, and we'll talk more about that once again next section. That was a downgrade for Resurgence players. And now we're barely getting any content, right? No, not really any camos. Speedline camo is cool. What, we got American Dad, but you have to pay for that, and a lot of people don't like that. So it's like the content we're getting is either not on par, or we're getting the FFAR and LC10, which, by the way, the iron sights on that FFAR, extremely ugly. I'm just gonna say it, right? We're getting content that isn't as good. The LC10, amazing, right? But now people are tired of it. Where the heck is the H4 Blixen? Where's the OTS? Where are these classic guns from Warzone that were in the game years ago and still aren't here? I have a solution on how to bring all that stuff back that I'll talk about, but I'm just focusing on straight the cons here. That is a con. We need all this old content that was in the game with a clear path to when it's accessible without overloading the game. Now, I get the developers don't want to have balloons everywhere. I don't think that's bad, because balloons on Rebirth, I think it can fit, but if there's too many, yes, it's gonna feel crazy. I agree. If you can buy a balloon from the buy station, that might be too overpowered. The fact that there's no balloons on the map at all, really, outside of like getting them from a rare item, I think they need to come back. Second con for Black Ops 7 Warzone, wall jumping. I'm sorry, it's a con. We need to stop changing the movement on Warzone. When Black Ops 6 came into Warzone, Omni movement, a lot of my in real life friends, feels weird saying that, but like IRL friends or people from church who play COD quit when the integration came out. Why? I mean, glitches, bugs. The anti-cheat somehow stopped working again, which happens time. Like, all that stuff cannot happen at the same time. We go into Black Ops 6, we lose some content in a roundabout way, although I guess that wasn't really till season 3 that we lost some content, but we didn't have Rebirth playable, and then it came back and the lighting was messed up and it got taken out again. And I made a video, Rebirth's back. Somebody commented, Rebirth's not back, because they took it out after I logged off for the day. Like, and some other YouTubers have talked about that exact situation. Crazy. So how are we having all these resets where there's glitches, bugs? Every time the movement changes, Warzone suffers. Just gonna put it out there. And trust me, if I've ever had an opportunity or do have an opportunity to talk to developers, I've mentioned that, right? Changing Warzone's base identity, movement, gunplay is not good for the game overall. Look at Fortnite or even Apex, although Apex is probably not what we want to look at here. Fortnite has essentially had the same mechanics with slight changes over time to that base engine, quote unquote. Now, I know I'm not using the word engine correctly, but I think you guys know what I mean. The base of Warzone needs to stay the same, and over time, it needs to be improved and tweaked, whether for the better or worse based on what things are added, right? But completely changing the movement. Here's what I think is going to happen, guys, and I really hate to be this guy. I'm optimistic that it is not going this way, but based off what we've seen, we have to be honest. They're going to add in Black Ops 7. It's going to break the game. Your loadouts aren't going to save again. There's going to be glitches, and then there's going to be people bouncing off the walls like a hyper kid in class that just got an airhead for the first time and never has sugar at home. And people are going to be like, movement demons, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be bad. And what are people going to do? They're going to go to Battlefield. And I'm afraid that it's going to be broken. I'm hoping the update they did in Black Ops 6 that they said they did around the time that Rebirth had that issue and Verdansk came back, that they now have a feature that allows them to port stuff between different CODs. They said that's a thing. I'm hopeful. But if wall jumping's in the game, a lot of people are going to quit because we're once again changing Warzone. As an LTM, don't get me wrong, that is fire. Give me a no gravity mode. But it needs to be an LTM. It needs to be an LTM. If it is in the base game, it's going to push people away. And I got into an argument on Twitter. I wish I could actually show you guys of me arguing with other content creators where they were telling me I was wrong. Please tell me in the comments, am I wrong? Wall jumping seems like a horrible idea. People don't want a skill gap. They want a chill environment to shoot their gun. Warzone should be a sandbox where you can use a ton of different loadouts. You can have proximity chat, and that's what it should be. It should be a sandbox. And Jack Frags made a video on this way back with Verdansk. I felt like they brought back that feel, and I don't want them to throw it away again. We got separate movement from Black Ops 6. Did we really bring back this separate movement and get no content in Season 2 of Black Ops 6 other than Squid Games? Just to be like, okay, guys, you know, we spent all this time working on new movement for Verdansk. Now we're throwing it away. Please, Call of Duty, don't throw it away. You made the right call. Keep it. That's my thoughts on wall jumping. Number 3, I kind of already touched about this. Warzone integrations have been extremely bad. And with my team, I whipped up some notes and I even bolded extremely. And somebody on the team was like, oh, you're really bolding that word. Warzone integrations have been bad. There's just no other way to say it. Will I still play it and be hopeful? Absolutely. I still love Warzone. I'll talk about that in the future. Don't worry. It's been bad. If we go back to all of them, even Cold War on the original Modern Warfare engine, there was glitches that allowed hackers to fly cars. All the Cold War guns for the first 3 weeks were glitched and had extreme recoil that didn't work. And that was because they were porting, to be fair, yes, they were porting guns from like basically a different engine to MW19. I get that, but the guns felt better on MW19, first of all. So that's another whole discussion. And then when they got in, they were bugged for a while. And then when they fixed them, you know what happened? The DMR was more broken than my love life. You could 3-tap somebody with that thing. The DMATI was broken. And every integration has this dilemma. Vanguard, same thing. It was broken for a little bit. It wasn't as bad as Cold War. And a lot of people forget. They're like, oh, back in the day, Warzone 1. No, Warzone 1 had some bad integrations too. And that's the only reason we need to bring this up. It has happened a lot. And I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about it because I love this game. I want to create content on this game. I love making content on Warzone. I love proximity chat. Warzone is my favorite game. If I didn't enjoy Warzone, I wouldn't play it. Right? And I want to see this game succeed. Integrations are bad. I don't think we need to go more into that. Warzone 2 wasn't bugged, but it completely ruined the game. Like, it completely changed Warzone's identity. That's a separate thing. I'm worried about that for Modern Warfare 4. We're going to talk about that too. Let's go to our 4th one. Bundles. Bundles are getting out of hand in that I don't care if we have all these skins if there's other content, right? If we have other content, sure. But there's been points where the only new content in the game is bundles. And I get that's how COD has to make their money. I get it. We need more content, okay? We do. I would love to see more content outside of bundles. I don't think I need to beat a dead horse here. That's it. COD's gonna make the bundles. They should. It's how they make their money. I think most people will be okay with it if we have other content and the anti-cheats improved, right? That's what it comes down to. Don't need to say any more. The 5th con, lack of Resurgence content in general, especially Rebirth. We went from having, how many maps did we have here, guys? Let's think. Albagra Fortress. I bet my editor can't even find footage of that. They might have to go back on my channel to like a while ago. Albagra Fortress Resurgence, Fortune's Keep, Ashika Island, Vondel, now Stadium Resurgence. I'm probably forgetting a map in here. Oh, Area 99. And now there's another one that's being rumored, right? That we'll have to see if COD Next, if that is true. Brother, how many Resurgence maps have we had where people just want to go back to Rebirth? So why the heck has Rebirth not been updated? Guys, just for fun, I want to show you this. This is a picture of Rebirth Island in the Vanguard era. I just want you guys to see what it looked like. As you guys notice, a lot of the changes here are still the same. We look down here at this boat, that was put in Vanguard. The boat on the other side where you could see the smoke near Control Center, that was put there. Control Center, I believe, was changed during Cold War because there used to be a site called Construction. There's been changes to Rebirth, not enough. Where are all the, of course, during Vanguard, we got this little shore area behind Water Tower where my mouse is added in, right? There's been changes, not enough. We had a submarine that you can't see here. The submarine is the only thing that I can recall that they've added to Rebirth outside of keycard scanners, which might have actually been in the game before. I can't remember now. Oh, and sorry, they added in this, but this might have been in Vanguard, right? There used to be a bunch of random electrical outlets here or whatever. I don't know when they added this in. Was this MW3? It might have been, right? It's been so long since it's been added in. Now, the PDS isn't on Rebirth. There's so much content that used to be there, like a PDS for gas plays, that isn't there, that it feels like a watered down Rebirth. So why not add in a whole new thing over here? Why not add in something over here? Why not add in like a Rebirth 2035 theme, which I will show you guys for a second. Guys, yesterday on Twitter, which by the way, please follow me over on Twitter if you don't already. We're going to be posting more over there. With my graphic designer, we made a little bit of a graphic here, new Vondel Rebirth mode, right? And it's like Vondel Island or whatever. Obviously, that's a joke. That's a troll. But stuff like this, I mean, we don't need to go that extreme. That was kind of a troll slash just interesting thing. This, would it be a pretty far change from Rebirth? Yes, don't get me wrong. As an LTM, though, Rebirth 2035, I mean, look, guys, it got 2,000 likes on community posts when we put this up, right? I think people want to see changes to Rebirth. We need it. Lack of content on Resurgence. If we're going to have DMZ, zombies, campaign, multiplayer, Warzone, all in the game and getting updates, I understand that it's going to be hard. But I don't think the changes we need in Warzone are crazy. We need conversion kits, camos, small map updates every once in a while, and that will be enough to really put Warzone in a good spot. And now we're going to talk about my ideas for the future of Warzone and what I really think we need in order to make Warzone successful, not just this year, but long term. All right, now is maybe the thing I'm most excited for. Of course, talking about what I'm going to be doing with my content. Sure, I'm excited about that. But the future of Warzone. What does it look like? This is based off what I've seen from you guys and a lot of reflecting, talking to creators, thinking other creators are maybe wrong, and where I think we should go. I actually want to start off with something here in framing what I think the best era of Warzone was to frame what it would look like. Now, this is going to sound crazy to you guys, but I'm going to break up the best era of Warzone into 4 different times. We're going to start with, of course, MW19. When the game first came out, it was fresh, and I think what was awesome about it was it had a skill gap that allowed anybody to jump into Warzone. Now, yes, COVID played a huge role in it being successful, but my good friends that I played Warzone with from college, we used to game every night. We stopped playing Warzone because it no longer felt like we had a chance to win, and it no longer felt like there was high stakes or that it was like there was stuff to do that was fun and trolly. Whether it was vehicles or throwing claymores on recon drones, the stuff that makes Warzone fun is all the wacky and random ways you can play it. So throughout Warzone history, as we've gone into different eras like the beginning of Warzone 2, where there was only really one way to play, and they eliminated a lot of play styles, that wasn't great. We went from MW3 to Black Ops 6, and we lost the backpack system, we lost conversion kits, and the meta once again got boring. That's something that can kill the game. But for me, the best era of Warzone is actually Modern Warfare 3. And so you might be wondering why I have this random tweet pulled up from this guy named Greg. This guy, Greg, is actually a former head of development for Sledgehammer. And I had the opportunity to talk to him, not about actually COD, a little bit about COD, but it was for something else recently. And I think what impressed me, and by the way, if you ever get to talk to any developers from Raven Software, from COD, a lot of the people that work for COD are extremely passionate. And when you guys do criticize COD, I think it's important not to bring hate to these people because you got to understand they're one person. And when it's a big corporation, I know a lot of people haven't worked at a big company. It is very hard to make things happen. It just is. And so you can criticize people, but don't be like rude and malicious. There's a difference, right? I've seen people go into developers' replies and just tear them apart. That doesn't make sense to me. They're just people working a job, and they like what you have to do to work at COD. I don't think people realize just how insane it is. But anyway, in talking to Greg and what made MW3 so successful, I saw this tweet from him after. Popularity contest of fun is brutal. One player's joy has to be better than someone else's. Watching it play out is heartbreaking. I've seen it for years, but stepping away from a single title gave me a new lens. Guys, I think we know what he's talking about with COD, right? People want the sweats to get buffed, or people who quote unquote are sentinels or campers to get buffed. Infinity Ward tends to make their game slower, right? Black Ops tends to make it a little too fast. MW3, I think why it was so good was the movement wasn't abusively broken, but there was movement. The camos were fun. The events were fun. The bundles weren't as bad. Like there were still cool inspecs, and maybe people thought that was crazy, but it was still not as bad as it is now, right? It was a good balance of everything. Sure, did people still hate on COD? In fact, a lot of people said MW3 was going to be the worst COD ever, right? I think Black Ops 7 has the potential to be like a Modern Warfare 3. I'll explain why, but in terms of best Warzone eras, I think MW3 Season 3 through 6 was one of the best states Warzone was ever in. Urzikstan got updates. Rebirth got updates. Players got updates. Zombies obviously wasn't in the mix. We're not really talking about zombies. I'm sorry to my zombies guys. I'm not equipped to even talk about it, right? But in terms of multiplayer and Battle Royale, there were updates to both. Now, was Battle Royale what it should have been? A lot of people would say no, right? But even as a non-Battle Royale guy, I enjoyed Urzikstan for what it was, right? It's not as good as... It's probably one of the worst Battle Royale... I think it might be better than Caldera, but maybe that's not even true, right? It's just crazy that when we went to Black Ops 6, we lost all those changes to Urzikstan, and that's why it didn't feel as good. But the best eras for me were MW19, the very beginning, where you could play it like a sandbox, and there was a lot that we didn't know about Warzone. Now, that's where people say streamers ruin the game because they sped it up. Reality is, I think yes, to some extent, streamers can ruin games, right? But I also think those people are very negative and just complain, and there's probably somebody down in the replies doing it right now. That's just the nature of social media. People are going to complain, right? Cold War era was really good when they had different themes for Rebirth, all these different map changes. Late Vanguard era, once again, we pull up this screenshot, right? Vanguard era of Rebirth was amazing. There was a new mechanic where you could use 10 attachments. There was SMGs with 70 rounds. It really changed the way Rebirth was played, and that's why it was so different and good than some of the other eras. So the end of Vanguard was really good. And I'll also explain why it was, because the very end of Vanguard, I think might be the best Rebirth Island ever was. And I know that's a hot take because some people say MW3. I'm with you. That was really good. But I'll explain why I think that. Vondel Season 5 of Warzone 2 was really good. Around that time when there was camos, Vondel was fresh. It was fun. It was a new Resurgence experience. And from all these eras, we can learn what I think we need Warzone to look like. And lastly, MW3 from Season 3 through 6 was obviously very strong. And we had Superstore Resurgence, just like we have Stadium. But I think Superstore Resurgence was more popular because Superstore was added fresh into the game, whereas Stadium was in the game and was just open. Sure, it's a new POI, but it wasn't actually a new POI, and we hadn't had Superstore in years. So why did I just name all those eras, and why are you probably thinking, yeah, all those eras were great for Warzone? They're not near an integration. Let's be honest, guys, right? MW19, the game was fresh. It had limited amount of guns. There was no integrations. Cold War. In Season 3 through 5 of Cold War, there was updates to Verdansk. There was updates to Rebirth. There was a new Rebirth night mode. Anytime there's an integration, it's bad for Warzone. That's why I think it should stay separate. And people really argue with me on Twitter about this. I'm like, guys, I don't think you're remembering how bad every integration was. So first of all, integrations are bad for Warzone. They have been, unless they've fixed that issue of how to get all the glitches and the anti-cheat from falling off. We're in trouble if that's the case, right? And will I still make content? As long as I'm enjoying Warzone, I'm going to keep making content. But it was bad, right? Let's just be real. Also, having a lot of new guns in the meta, but old guns still being viable is really key to when Warzone has felt good for the most amount of players. Why did I say Vanguard was the best? One, we had different themes for maps. We had a Rebirth Sunset mode that was on Supreme. We had Iron Trials for Rebirth. There was a Rebirth Gulag at one point. A lot of people forget this. And I believe there was another theme for Rebirth, but MW3, the same thing. There was multiple themes for Rebirth. There was infill strikes. I fundamentally think Rebirth needs to have multiple themes. Not that gloomy one that was in there, that gloomy one. But even then, that was a different feel. What happened to that, right? I actually am going to take that back and say, even though that gloomy one could be annoying, it did make the map feel different. And I think it should still be around. At the same time, the infill strikes that were added in, MW3 added in all these things to Rebirth that right now, if a infill strike hits this tower right here, right on Rebirth, this water tower, the end game could play completely different. Where is that? Why don't we strike down Factory? Why don't we strike down Grandma's house or Stronghold, right? Why don't we plop in a ship every once in a while? Like maybe a ship rotates every 10 games or something. I don't know. Changes like that, where there's variability in how you play. Same thing for Verdansk. Could make both maps feel a lot better. So personally, when we think about the most ideal era of Warzone, it's changes to the scenery of the map that are small changes that make a big difference. A lot of guns in the meta, but new guns. Camos, new events, and things that make you excited to play the game, while the base game itself doesn't change, right? Don't add in grappling hooks unless it's like an LTM or like a super rare item that's in whatever. Because if it's a rare item, that does work for Warzone, right? When we add in an item that's too overpowered, like balloons on Verdansk, that completely, like being able to buy balloons, I think changes the game in a negative way. Having balloons on Rebirth, say over here by Harbor, where it was, or over by Stronghold, those have been in the game. Keep that. Don't let people buy balloons where they change the base game. Now, personally, if I can buy balloons, I'm going to use it as a high skill player or relatively high skill player, right? I'm not like a Biffle out here, but I have a almost 4 KD and can use it. A lot of you guys can also use balloons to your advantage, but we don't want to change the base game. That's kind of what it is. Keep PDSs and all this stuff you've added in. Door barricades are very fun. Add in items like that that don't change the base game, but when you get them, you go, oh, cool. I can play this game differently. That's what makes Warzone fresh. So here's my ideas, guys. My idea, I have 4 to 5 ideas that I think can really put Warzone in a good spot. Imagine this, guys. And I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Isaac here, obviously, who put out this tweet. Retweet with your ideal Warzone setup. He said a lot that's made me think about this, and this whole thing actually kind of led to me coming up with this idea, and I'm in the replies somewhere here. I think COD should cycle maps and guns seasonally. And I know a lot of people are going to hate on this and say, no, I want my blueprints. But imagine this. The Superi 46 gets deleted, right? for 5 seasons, but it comes back for a season and it's meta again. Remove guns from the games because, guys, if we open up Call of Duty right now, I just want to... This is ridiculous, man. Look how many guns are in here. I think there's going to be almost 200 guns with Black Ops 7, and most of them aren't usable. Now, I don't think we should be deleting guns permanently, nor any content. Because the problem is then we're losing content. Fortnite, the pump shotgun gets removed. It comes back a season later, right? But it makes it feel fresh. But with loadouts, you have to do things differently. I think they have the capability to do this because the Core 45, as you guys might know, if we go to pistols, you'll notice the Core 45 is not in the game, guys. And by the way, the spear, when you queue in the riot shield, like the spear is, the spear is not in the game, actually. Unless it's a launcher. I think it might count as a launcher. Let me just double check on this. Okay, it is. But if you guys go and try to put the spear in the game, notice it won't be there, right? The riot shield, not in the game, right? But it's clearly in the files because people have bought blueprints. I think what COD needs to do is naturally take guns in and out and then make them meta for that season and have a few different meta guns, right? LC-10, Superi, Ladra. Imagine there's 3 of those. Then the Lockman Shroud. Lockman Shroud's already good. Superi's already good, but make them even better than they are now so that you can actually outgun a sweaty player with the Ladra. Because I feel like sweats who play the game just use the same loadouts over and over again. And to be fair, sometimes when I make videos about the new meta or my other streamer colleagues, then everybody uses the same guns and that makes Warzone boring. When Warzone 1 came out, you could pick up a gun, or even Warzone 2 or Warzone 3. Really, any of the eras I just talked about, including Vanguard. People don't remember this. A lot of old guns were meta again, like the Kilo, AMAX, Cold War MP5. You could find somebody's gun in the ground and go, whoa, like, what is this build? And now you can inspect it and see what's on it. So take out the Superi, bring it back. When you do that, bring back Vondel. Vondel needs to be in the game 24/7 with Rebirth because Vondel is 72-person resurgent. Guys, it's just a different vibe. I know some people don't like Vondel, but Vondel had amazing Easter eggs. It feels better to win a game. You don't have to commit to a full BR match, but you can still play it. And Vondel is the only map that can actually act as a battle royale and resurgence map. I think Vondel and Rebirth are the future of Resurgence and Warzone. If you guys didn't see recently, there was a $1 million EWC tournament that was held on Rebirth. People seem to be really into it. Why? Because it was Rebirth, in my opinion. Now, I don't want to take away credit from EWC. They've been doing some great things. I think World Series of Warzone should, copy some things there. But if we want ranked and competitive to feel good, first of all, that's going to also help with sweats being out of casual, right? If there's camos to grind, prestiges to grind, and you can't get those in casual, but you can only get them in pubs, that's why you play pubs. Then, if you have a competitive scene built around Resurgence and Ranked that is good, I think Ranked is in a really good spot, and that's why I've been playing it, even though there is cheat, but obviously, like, anti-cheat's a whole separate thing, right? Then you have this ability for people to say, cool, I want to get good, I want to be a pro, I go play competitive. I stay out of pubs so that people that want to chill and play the game can enjoy pubs. Then you can lessen skill-based matchmaking a little bit so that those people aren't getting pushed out, right? Then you have casual for the people that really just want to shoot bots. And like, the reality is I fundamentally think casual needs to be a part of the game long-term, right? It just does. And that really opens up all the lanes. But then you have Vondel and Rebirth. Vondel can just be pubs, but it can rotate ranked every other season with Rebirth. Then you keep competitive fresh. And Vondel is a really good competitive map for Warzone, and I think it's also a good pubs map. Then you can rotate it in casual too, heck, right? You can rotate Vondel and Rebirth on casual every 30 minutes or whatever it is. That way, if people get into a match of Rebirth and they want to play Rebirth again, they can queue in. When they come out, they just have to wait a little bit for Vondel at that point. So that's kind of my idea there. And I don't know. I don't think you should rotate Vondel and Rebirth. I think you should keep them both. But then you have this other thing with Ashika, Area 99. I've been a big proponent of Ashika because I think I realized it's not as bad a map as I thought it was. I hated on it, but I think I was more so hating on the beginning of Warzone 2. And once again, that we lost all this content and the movement was really bad at the beginning. It was. I know some people are going to be like, C-Preds, it wasn't that bad. No, I've gone back to DMZ. The movement is bad in like a negative way. It is. That's too slow. I think MW3 and Black Ops 7, them slowing down the movement, that's balanced movement to me, is where you allow people to use movement and get better without making it so overpowered that it's like ruining the game, right? That's the balance. We need to bring back Ashika and these other maps on rotation. So let me go into the playlist and I'll kind of show you. Guys, here's what the rotation could look like, right? Instead of Stadium Resurgence, you just have Vondel. We don't need another Resurgence map permanently in the game that's the same size as Rebirth. Why? People are going to choose Rebirth. Now, if you need to rotate Rebirth and Vondel, sure. I think people are down for it. Like if you rotate those two as the base, but you have a clear schedule for when it rotates. I don't think you want to rotate those two every 15 minutes. What you need is to tell people when Vondel and Rebirth are going to be in the game. This hour, Rebirth's in the game. Next hour, Vondel's in the game. Why? Then people will say, oh, I don't want to play Rebirth, I'm out. And then Call of Duty can look at that data and say, okay, this is what people are playing. Or, let me throw this out there, put both of them in the game. But if you're going to rotate them, do it like Apex where it's predictable, right? Then Stadium Resurgence, it becomes Vondel, and you add in one more playlist that becomes Ashika, Area 99, new Resurgence map that's rumored, and they come in every season. Season 1, we got a banger new Resurgence map with Easter eggs, with all these new items, new guns, blah, blah, blah. But if you guys don't want to play that, we also added a POI to Rebirth and Vondel. We put info strikes. We're actually destroying the castle at Vondel. I'm telling you, Call of Duty, if anybody happens to listen to this Yap session, I don't know why a developer would, but this is long. Hopefully, though, that's the point of this video, right? I'm telling you, from what I've talked to from people in this community, guys, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. That would be amazing to have small updates on Rebirth and Vondel, keep them in the game, new guns that rotate in, bring back the OTS, 8s for Blixen. Season 2, Area 99 and the MP40 are back. Season 3, the well gun and Ashika. I'm telling you, it'd be like Gordon Ramsay chefed it up himself because people would have options. And COD's player base is big enough to support all of this, guys. We have a lot of playlists right now and we're having no issues. So I think we have plenty here to have Resurgence casual, Battle Royale casual, regular BR, pubs. Now, Battle Royale, I don't know if they'll be able to rotate both those maps. There's been talks that like if you queue into solos right now, it takes forever. That's what people that play Battle Royale like Expel and Tactical Brit have been saying. I don't play a lot of Battle Royale. You guys know this, but I would if there was a new map. And I think rotating Battle Royale is ideal at minimum, right? Like if Avalon does come into the game, which I don't know, right? We have nothing concrete. There's just leaks. Rotating that with Verdansk would be great. That I think is the formula for Warzone to make it successful in the future. Camos, conversion kits. The conversion kits in BS7, guys, we've got them. Did you know we've got them, guys, but they've been bad? Let's see what we got in this new event here. What, did we get a pair of boxing gloves? That's all we got, guys. Oh, I just unlocked it. That's funny. I didn't even have it unlocked. Why did I not even want to unlock this, guys? I didn't even click into this event. Why? Because it's boxing gloves, bro. It doesn't change the game that much. We need conversion kits like MW3 that completely change a weapon. Honestly, such as the Growl. People complained about the Growl, but I've actually been enjoying the Growl. And I mean, this conversion kit completely changes the weapon into a new one. That's what we need is conversion kits, not firing mods. Don't just give me a burst on everything. Black Ops 6 has just been 3-round burst XM4, 3-round burst Strider. Cool. Give me a kit that turns a pistol into a sniper, dog. Like, my favorite conversion kit in all of Warzone, guys, might be the Cat AMR Sniper that turns it into an RPG. And I'm just going to show you for any developers that might be watching this or just people of the community. This is my favorite conversion kit maybe ever, and it's because it turns it into a one-shot RPG. Why don't we have more of this stuff in the game that we can really do that with? Conversion kits need to be a part of Warzone. We need to take this base that worked with MW3 and build it out where we get more and more content, and the seasons actually are meaningful, where there's new weapons or metas that really make people excited to get on the game. And lastly, Rebirth Island must be updated. New LTMs, whatever. There was a point where we were getting a lot of LTMs for Rebirth. Now we're getting them for Verdansk. Give us LTMs for both. When we go into this playlist at the end of the day, I want to be able to go in, me personally, and this is my ideal Warzone, and have Vondel and Rebirth with some sort of LTM on Ashika, Area 99, Rebirth that rotates in every single season or 2 weeks. I'm not a developer. I know I'm asking for a lot to bring back Ashika, and I'm assuming I'm asking for a lot, right? But I think rotating in, even for Plunder, rotate in Lockdown again. Where the heck did Lockdown go? All this stuff that made Warzone great, rotating into be one base game that really evolves over time like a Pokemon. Imagine if I trained a Magikarp for 16 hours to evolve it to Gyarados, and then Pokemon came out with an update the next day that de-evolved it back to Magikarp. I'd be pretty flippin' pissed, because then instead of doing whatever move I'd be doing, I'd be stuck with Splash. I rest my case. Now, lastly, guys, first of all, subscribe and like if you do want to see more content and you have enjoyed this. But let's talk about the future of the channel. I want to thank you guys, man. We are almost at 500K subscribers. We are actually about 1,000 away. It just hasn't updated to 499K yet, but we're like 100 subscribers away from that maybe. And then we'll be 1,000 away from 500K. Thank you. I really appreciate the support more than you know. And enabling me to really have this platform and do this job now is amazing. And you guys remember when I would hop on stream as the tired teacher who just worked 12 hours and commuted 45 minutes each way on the subway? I mean, like, if you've been here on the come up, you know it's been tough. And now I have a full team. We meet every day. We work hard to kind of come up with the best content. And you guys will see. We've tried to come up with new concepts all the time. Which, guys, is not easy to do, but that's what I enjoy about this, is what is a video that I could come out with that somebody hasn't seen before? It's hard to do in Warzone. That is the plan, is to continue that. But I will be transparent. When Battlefield 6 comes out, we will play it. We will upload a video on it, and I will see if the Battlefield community and you guys enjoy the content, right? At the end of the day, all that matters for what I put on this channel is, am I having fun, and are you guys enjoying it? Because at the end of the day, that's what being a content creator is. It's to inspire and make content for you guys. You are basically my boss, right? At the end of the day. But I'm not going to play Warzone if I'm not enjoying it. And I know that might be a shock to some people, but what that means, and I truthfully tell you this, is I do enjoy Warzone. I very much do enjoy hopping on stream every day and recording videos. And if I didn't, I promise you I wouldn't upload anymore on Warzone. I wouldn't do it. I didn't work so hard at all these jobs I had in the past to get this job, and this, really it's a business, because it is a business, that I enjoy, to throw it all away. I didn't. But if I don't enjoy Warzone, I will try to make content on Battlefield or other games or GTA 6 when they come out. My approach is always going to be testing a video, testing a stream, seeing if I enjoy it and can make content. Warzone right now, guys, transparently, what I love about it is how many guns are in the game that I can use for content. The whole idea of loadouts, proximity chat, camos, and events. I love that Warzone has a very predictable flow that I can use things like rank or KD or proc chat to make content for you guys. It's very easy, and we do it on shorts all the time in terms of using loadouts to make deeper stories. And the shorts are cooking right now. I'm not gonna lie. Our shorts are popping off. We're enjoying it. The team and I are having a lot of fun with the shorts we're doing. We take it very seriously. We do a lot more planning than you guys might think. Sometimes hours of planning per day just for one short or video. You might not believe it, but that's how locked in we are and how much we're enjoying it, right? So if you do wanna get that content, subscribe. But keep in mind that we're going to try Battlefield content here. If you guys truly don't enjoy it and I'm enjoying it, that's where things get tough. But we're going to play both Black Ops 7. We're going to do the camos. We're going to do all that. We're going to play Battlefield. And we're going to play the new Warzone. When Battlefield comes out with their Battle Royale, we're going to try it. Now, I think I still do prefer Call of Duty above Battlefield, just to be transparent. But I think mixing in both with two similar games is something I would do. Now, when it comes to other games, we're going to talk about that as well. Because for people that want other games, I want to push myself as a creator and do so in a way that isn't crazy, because playing other games feels like a chore for me sometimes. I'd rather be on Warzone, to be transparent with you some days. So let's talk about it. Fortnite. We just uploaded our first Fortnite video in 8 months. This looks like bad numbers of 1.5K, but for a channel that hasn't uploaded with that many subscribers, this is actually good, and the videos, it has good analytics. It's saying that people are enjoying this video. I am going to be uploading Fortnite over here to just, honestly, I kind of want to prove to myself I can do it. For my career and my team, I want to prove that I can do it on another game, but Fortnite is not something that I enjoy as much as Warzone, nor do I think you guys will enjoy it. If you want to support and watch the content, but really only if you actually are going to watch Fortnite. Please don't subscribe just to subscribe. We don't need subscribers just to inflate numbers, because really we just want people that are going to enjoy the content over there. So don't feel pressured, but we will be uploading shorts. You can see some of these shorts actually did pretty well, 500K, and this video popped off well after we posted it. So we're going to do basically what we do on Warzone on Fortnite, and that will kind of allow my brain to like enjoy both games at the same time, in a way where we upload as much as we can. Now, second channel. A lot of you guys have asked, hey, why the heck do you have a second channel where you upload Warzone? Let's talk about that. Second channel is going to be for spectating, reacting, basically stuff where I'm not playing the game, reacting to your gameplay. And so if you guys want to be a part of these videos, first of all, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and join my Discord down below. In my Discord, we will be sending out instructions, my team and I, as to when we're doing videos like this. Okay. The next video we're going to upload is a $500 Warzone lobby over there. And then we're also going to upload a $20,000 Warzone, and you'll see just stay tuned if you want to know how we're doing that and what the content is. I'm also playing in a tournament tomorrow on Thursday. I'm playing today on stream with Stract. It'll probably be too late if you're seeing this video now. We are running some games with Stract. And then additionally, tournament Thursday, and then supposed to game with Diablo on Friday. We're going to try to do some more collabs, some more like themed events on stream, and just kind of push the envelope there. So I'm hopefully going to stream more hours, post on more channels than ever. And this is a lot, guys, because as you guys know, I'm going to the gym recently. You guys will see some progress pics soon. I'm pushing myself a lot, physically and content. It is a lot on me. We have the team to do it. I have the energy to do it. While I'm still, I know a lot of you guys think I'm old, while I'm still young and unfortunately unmarried. We want to push ourselves pretty hard here on the content. So we're going to upload on second channel a few times a week. This will be focused around you guys. We're not really going to post shorts here, but if you want spectating, reacting, go to CPreds 2. We're trying to hit 50K there by the new Warzone integration. We are going to upload variety content, whether it be DMZ like the first video on this channel was, or just, I don't know, other shooters that aren't as similar to Battlefield. Maybe just me playing games, talking to some other creators like T-Dog and what they're doing. If you want some more content in the future, we're going to do long form only on other games on CPreds Plays. I don't know what I'm going to do there, but we will probably push the envelope there in the future in terms of like maybe we're playing games more like Steam games or like non-shooters. I want to just grow as a creator and push myself to keep growing. I love Warzone, man. And I hope you guys hear this. We're not going anywhere with the Warzone content in terms of my plans for that. I enjoy the heck out of it. But we will mix in other games. We will try to push ourselves as a team, as a creator, because that's what I love doing. I love improving, pushing myself, and just always trying to get better. And that's really how I became a full-time content creator. Thank you guys so much for almost 500K. Let me know if you have any questions down below. We will be trying to answer and look at feedback, especially on this video. Thanks for hanging in here on a absolute yap session. Let me know, comment pizza down below if you made it to the end of the video. And if you want more videos, there's actually 2 more on your screen. Go subscribe to the other channels. And as always, man, stay able, stay hungry. Hopefully Warzone and Black Ops 7 are going to be amazing, almost as amazing as the next 2 videos. We'll see you guys tomorrow.